Hey, yo, what's good? Welcome to my underrated fights series where I give tribute to great fights of the past that don't really get talked about, therefore are underrated. These fights don't get talked about in the same light as Gotti Ward, Hagler Hearns, or Ali Frazier, which are great fights, but there are other great fights as well. Today I will be talking about Julian Jackson versus Harold Graham, who faced each other on November 24th, 1990, in Spain. In Spain. They were gonna fight in England, but due to issues of Julian Jackson's eye he had in the past, he actually took some time off to get his eye operated for detached retina. So due to that, they didn't allow this fight to happen in England. But yeah, this fight took place in Spain. And look at this poster. I'm all over the place. Look at this poster. It's just so cool, so old school. I found this one, and it's like the one I found for my Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns 2 fight, underrated fights, right? Video. They're just really cool, really old school. They just look historical. Like I'd have this on my wall somewhere, right? Anyway, let's talk about this fight. This fight, if you haven't watched this fight, if you watch any one of my fights that I talk about, watch this. Specifically how it ends. But before it ended, Harold Graham fighting a beautiful fight, just sticking and moving. He wasn't just sticking and moving, he was going forward, he was throwing combinations, he was pushing Julian Jackson to the ropes. The first bell rang and he bull rushed Julian Jackson into the ropes, started pounding on him. And of course he felt his punch, he backed up a little bit so he kept his distance. Well, round two he bruised Julian Jackson's left eye. It started to swell. It started to swell to the point that it was almost closed. That was like troubling Julian Jackson. And in the third round, he hurt him. He like buckled his legs, had him into the ropes with a. It was a left hand, left hook that had Julian Jackson hurt and had him on the ropes. So he was getting schooled. He was getting outclassed, outfought, outpunched, right? And his eye was almost shut. Before the fourth round started, the doctor had to see if he could continue. That's how bad of a whooping Julian Jackson was receiving. But did things change in the fourth round? Not in the beginning because Harold Graham was still whooping that ass all over the place. He was beating him up, had him against the ropes several times. Um, Julian Jackson didn't know what to do, so he changed southpaw. So it wouldn't receive those right jabs that cleanly because if you turn southpaw, that means that means that your lead is on your right side. So the right jab won't be hitting the left side because the right jab is closer to your left if you have an orthodox stance. So this is why Julian Jackson switched stance. He switched stance around the third round, but it still befuddled him. Harold Graham's skills, his speed, his footwork, everything was bewildering Julian Jackson. He was just trying to time him for that big shot. And in the fourth round, damn. That's all I gotta say. All I gotta say is that this punch landed. And it was a smart move to have that stance. Because this is when he had him against the corner, and Harold Graham threw that left hand. It landed, so he was cranking that right hook. He cranked it all the way back. He was gonna hurt Jackson, right? But this is where Julian Jackson timed him. This is where he said afterwards, "I was timing him. He's a tough customer, but I timed him." He threw one of the most devastating rights of all time. He hit him right on the button. It was like if time stopped for Herol. He just stood there for a split second, then fell. Boom, stiff. Stiff, man. I don't know why Joe Cortez freaking counted, because you knew he was done. How done? He was out for 5 whole minutes. That's how done he was. Brutal knockout. Good, very good fight. Come from behind. Knockout punch. This fight should be talked about as one of the greatest KOs of all time. And it is. Ring Magazine actually rated this fight on their 20 greatest one-punch knockouts of all time as number 4. If you're wondering what issue, I have it in my hands right now. It's the June 11th issue, the one with Canelo on the cover. It's just, if you don't watch the whole fight, it's a good fight overall. But this knockout makes it great. Yeah, Julian Jackson said, I know it was behind, but I kept the pressure on him, and I knew that sometime in the fight, I would get my shot off. I was timing him while I was going back in the corner. I kept my eyes on him until he made that drop to deliver his left hook. He was open, and I threw that right hook flush on the chin. Yeah, man, it's a shame because Herol never won a world title. He got 3 title shots, and the last one he was almost 40 years old. He was 40 years old, had been fighting for 20 years. So it's kind of a shame that he never won a title, but that's how things goes. He fought, his first title shot was against Mike McCallum, and his second one was against Julian Jackson. And his third one was against, Charles Brewer, who was not a great fighter, but he was 39 years old. He was almost 40. So he's a very good fighter, one of the best fighters to have never won a world title, especially in these eras. In this era today that we have people vacating their titles for no reason and not defending their titles, look at Herol, a very good fighter with a good amateur background. But he never got a title run. It's a shame. It's a shame, but he'll always be in highlight reels for this knockout. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen this knockout, go and watch it. Thanks for watching. What are some underrated fights that you could think of? Or some brutal one-punch KOs like this that maybe I haven't seen yet? Please rate and subscribe. Peace.